Good morning. My name is Mejer. Today we're going to talk about what to do at a family-based interview in Mount Laurel. What to prepare, what to wear, what questions you're going to be asked, how you're going to get there, what's the process. We're going to what's the role of the attorney, do you need an attorney, all of who can come with you, all of this and more we're going to discuss in today's episode.
Calificas para ser legal, quieres saber, solo llama al abogado Andrés Mejer.
What to do if you have an interview in Mount Laurel. So now there's a number of different interviews you might have. It could be green card process, which is what we're talking about today, where your wife or your parent or your child over 21 filed for you. You could also have a marriage of short duration, so you got a temporary green card good for 2 years, and you then have to apply to remove those conditions. Or you're applying for citizenship. So green card process, remove conditions of the green card, parole in place, because you have a family member in the military, or citizenship are the most common reasons to have an interview in Mount Laurel. That's why they usually have two units, the adjustment unit, which is the green card unit, and the naturalization unit, which is for citizenship. This assumes, obviously, that you have a valid claim. So I hope you met with an attorney. The attorney filed a petition and evaluated your situation and came to the conclusion that yes, you can adjust, yes, you can your green card. So for purposes of today, we're talking about specifically a family-based petition, specifically spousal petition. So I'm an immigrant. I was born in Chile, Santiago, Chile. My wife's a U.S. citizen. She was born in Pennsylvania. She's applying for me. I entered legally. That's the scenario where we're talking about. You file the petition. Within 2 weeks, you're going to get a receipt notice saying thank you for your payment. Within 2 weeks, you're going to get a biometric notice. They fingerprint you. And then within 5 to 6 months thereafter, you're going to get a notice to go in Mount Laurel. Now, Mount Laurel deals with South Jersey and Central Jersey. Newark deals with Northern Jersey. That may change at any moment. They are talking about changing it. But for now, you're noticed in Mount Laurel, 532 Fellowship Road. How are you going to get there? Well, you're going to take the turnpike to exit 4. You're going to follow signs for Route 73 North. You take that for about a quarter mile, and you're going to make a right at Fellowship Road. The USCIS office will be about 2 blocks down the road on the right. What to wear? So very important. Wear your best. Wear your Sunday best. Wear what you would wear to go to an interview. I wouldn't show up in bathing suit and flip-flops. But look, you only have a certain amount of time to make a first impression. It's important that you make a good first impression. Who should come with you? Well, whoever petitioned for you, if you're the immigrant, whoever petitioned for you must be there. If it's your wife, she needs to come. If it's your parents, they need to be there. If it's your child, they need to be there. Whoever was the petitioner in your petition must be with you at the interview. If you don't, they're going to deny you or they'll adjourn it. So just last week, I had a scenario. Son applied for mom. Son's a U.S. citizen. He had a medical issue. He was unable to show up. Mom was there. I was there. Son was not. We had to get it adjourned because otherwise they would have just denied it, and we definitely don't want to do that. Now, your attorney should be with you. Kids, well, it depends. Sometimes kids are very helpful, meaning if it's a family-based petition where my wife filed for me and I have 2 kids, if she's filing for me, I would want my kids there. Why? Because it's a proof that it's a bona fide relationship. Now, for immigration purposes, I can go in front of a judge and I'm married tomorrow. Well, it takes 72 hours, but you get what I mean. I can show up and I'm married. That doesn't mean the relationship is legitimate in immigration's eyes. I must prove it beyond. I must prove that it's a legitimate relationship, not just a legal relationship. And generally speaking, if I'm in a sham marriage, if I ask someone to do me a favor, or I paid someone to do that for me, I'm not gonna have kids with him or her as well. So it's proof that it's a legitimate relationship. So kids are usually helpful. You don't need to bring an interpreter for this one. You're not even allowed to nowadays. They will, immigration, USCIS, if you need an interpreter, they'll bring someone through language line. They will not let your attorney petition. They will not let your relative translate for you, nor your attorney translate for you. because the officer is concerned that maybe they're coaching you. They're telling you how to answer questions rather than translating. Now, you never know who speaks your language or not. I don't look Hispanic, and yet I am. I'm a fluent Spanish speaker. That's also true for some USCIS officers. Now, some of them clearly speak with an accent, so you have a pretty good indication what their mother language was, but you never know how many languages they speak. You'd be surprised at the number of officers that speak some level of Spanish. So if someone is coaching you, they're gonna know. Don't take the chance, just don't do it. When they get there, well, you should plan on getting there 30 minutes early. First, you never know how traffic was gonna be. Secondly, arriving early gives you an opportunity to talk to your attorney to see if you have any questions before your interview. Don't be late. You don't want to risk a denial. Show up on time, show up early. Immigration will typically take you on time within 15 to 30 minutes late. If you arrive late, guess what? If you have a 10:30 appointment and you show up at 11:30, they may fit you in, but it may not be until after lunch. You will need identification to enter the building, like any federal building. Driver's license, passport, birth certificate's gonna cut it. It needs to be a picture ID, and you must have your notice with you. So you're gonna go to the building, you're gonna knock on the door. Now, it's glass, but it's not see-through glass. They only fit 3 or 4 people in the security area. So you're gonna be waiting outside until there's room for you. Once you come in, officer will give you certain instructions. You're gonna go through a metal detector. You're gonna have to take off your jacket, your belt, take everything out of your pockets, take off your shoes. I shouldn't tell you, well, I shouldn't need to, but no weapons are allowed, no drugs are allowed. Be very careful. I wouldn't even bring a bottle of water. So once you get through security, if you have an attorney from under Mejer law will meet you in that area. Typically not outside, but inside. If you have an attorney, don't go check in. Wait for your attorney or speak to your attorney. If he or she is late, and you're going to be considerably late, call the office. If you can't get a hold of them, only then do you go to the officer and say, I'm here, my attorney's not. Super important, you don't go into the interview without your attorney. What's happening now, sometimes we have 3 people, 3 clients with the same exact interview time, all 3 at 9:30. Obviously, I can't be with all 3 at the same time. It's ridiculous. If I'm with somebody and it's not you, you wait until I'm done. I don't mean that rudely or anything else. I can't protect you if I'm not in the room. You typically will wait 15 minutes to 60 minutes. Again, if you show up on time, they'll take you on time for the most part. If you show up late, I don't know when they're going to see you. Where are you interviewed? You've now come in, you've been through security, you met the attorney took your notice or went to the window, informed the clerk that the petitioner's there, which is the person who applied for you, the beneficiary is there, which is you getting the benefit, and the attorney is there, all ready to go, waiting for the interview. Then we go back into the seating area. Officer will come out and will ask, Mejer, Fernandez, whatever your last name is. They'll call you out, then you go. The officer will bring you through the door and will take you to his or her office. Typically, we'll close the door. Usually, you, the beneficiary, the immigrant receiving the benefit, will sit right in front of the officer. To your left will be the person who applied for you. To your right will typically be your attorney. Every office is a little bit differently. It depends on the makeup. They're not all identical, but that's pretty much the layout. Officer is going to swear you in, tell you everything you say is going to be true. So help you God, but they don't use the God part anymore. They are going to they're going to take your photo. They're going to check your right index finger and your left index finger to make sure you're the same person that did the biometrics. You're the same person that is looking to receive the benefit. They will review your documents, driver's license, passport, again, just to make sure that you are who you say you are. I understand you may come from different cultures, but in the US, it's really important you make eye contact. If the officer is asking you a question, they're evaluating how you're behaving, how you're sitting. Are you squirming? Are you not? Are you making eye contact? Aren't you? All of those are signs of that they're going to interpret as to credibility. Now, if you're constantly looking in a different direction, you won't make eye contact. Well, depending on where the officer is from, they may see that as you're lying or you don't believe what you're saying. So Super important. You come in, you shake their hand, you make eye contact. Every culture is different. I know some Asian countries, they do the exact opposite. Now, historically, in Mount Laurel, officer would review your file and your submissions before interviewing you. That gives them a sense of, well, okay, do I have a lot of proofs here? Am I concerned about fraud? Am I concerned that this is a legitimate relationship, it's a legitimate marriage, or I have no such concern? But nowadays, given the volume of interviews that they're having, I'm seeing more and more officers who have never looked at your documents before you walk into the room. That's not the way it should be in my view, but unfortunately it is a reality. So you must know your file. It's important that it's organized. You should have a table of contents. You should have a page number. You should know what documents you submitted and where you can find them. Here are the photos. In the photos show who's in the photo. When was the photo taken? We don't need 300 photos of your wedding day. That's one day. We want, not say 300, but we may want 50 from the day you met to the day you got engaged, till you got married, till the day that you're before that. What we do at Andres Mejer Law is we show your whole story. At the end of the day, I see my role as a storyteller. I am telling the story of your life and your spouse's life until they came together. Really important you know what you submitted because the officer won't. Lately. Will you be interviewed together? Well, it really depends on the facts of your case. Generally, if you've properly documented your file, you and your husband will be interviewed together. If they separate you, it's likely because they're suspecting fraud. If they separate you, they're going to ask you a set of questions. Then they're going to ask your spouse the same set of questions or similar and see, are your answers the same? If they're different, if they're sufficiently different, they might deny you. For example, if you don't know your spouse's parents' names or their siblings, and you don't know their date of birth, their birth date, who sleeps on what side of the bed, how you guys, if you don't know certain basic questions, it's a high likelihood that your petition will be denied. If you have an attorney, your attorney should have reviewed your situation before it was filed, should have reviewed it with you again before you went for the interview in case you need to supplement documentation. Look, nowadays I have some cases where the interview is almost a year after we submitted the documents. So we may need to supplement. Maybe they met abroad, just came into the United States, or I just filed for my wife. My wife just entered the United States. We are now going through the green card process. We don't have a lot of time that we've been together, married, cohabitating before we did the application. Maybe she was in college, abroad. So now she came in here, now we're living together, almost a year has gone by. We now have a lot more evidence about our life together than we had when we initially filed. So I will supplement it. There are certain circumstances that you are more likely to be separated. If you're in removal proceedings and your marriage happened after the initiated removal, you have a higher burden of proof you will likely be separated. If you already have an order of removal, again, there's a higher likelihood that you will be separated. What to answer in the interview? The truth. You should answer the truth as best as you can remember it. Don't make it up because you think the officer wants to hear it. If you don't remember, say so. If you don't understand the question, say so. If the translator is not clear, say so. Super important. You're going to judge based on what you say. If you didn't understand the question, afterwards is not helpful. Just be honest. If you're struggling because you're unsure of what's going on, your attorney will likely clarify it for you. If you don't have an attorney, you run the risk there is something in your past that can result in a denial to your petition. Today, denial your petition means being placed in removal proceedings unless you have legal status currently. So I get a number of people say, well, look, I'm a student. Should I renew, but my wife filed for me. Should I renew my student visa or should I just let it lapse? Don't let anything lapse. You never know. File before your status runs out or file to extend that status. Super important that you remain in legal status while you're filing for your green card. Now, if it turns out there was a mistake in the petition, for example, let's just say your date of birth is March 6th. So in the United States, you write it 3/6/year. If you're from Mexico, for example, you would write 6, which for them is the date, then the month, date, month, year, which actually makes sense. Smallest to greatest. But because here in the US we do everything backwards, you thought you wrote the 6th of March, when in reality you wrote the 3rd of June. So that and anything else you want to amend, you will have an opportunity to amend the petition. The officer is going to go question by question and ask you. You make the change. They're going to print out an amendment form, and you're going to sign it. Make sure that the changes are accurate, that they don't put something that you didn't say. If you liked what you heard, subscribe, like, share us give us your comments. Any questions you have, happy to answer them to the best of my ability. Until next week.